When TLC first announced the cast for the current season of 90 Day The Single Life, I'm not gonna lie, I was excited. I wasn't excited about every cast member, but majority of them I was, and I thought I was gonna be covering every cast member and their dating lives this season, but that didn't end up happening because as I watched the season unfold, there's a few storylines I connected to, but there's a lot of storylines I just felt like a disconnect with because I just felt like there's a disconnect with the people that we're dating, and it just did not feel authentic to me. Like, come on, I know this is reality TV, so they have to have some kind of production and producers guiding them on what to do to make things exciting for us. But I don't want the whole thing to be scripted, and it's just been so obvious to me that a lot of these storylines were forced this season. I ended up coming across this post from an Instagram blogger, and they came across some posts from a person on Reddit. So shout out to 90 Day Fiance _ Alexa Pomegranate. She came across these posts on Reddit, and this is someone who works with the producers and they have a lot of inside information, and they said out of all the storylines that are romance this season, and including her flirtations with Josh, talking about Kimberly, they say they're all produced. They're all driven by 90 Day producers. They said, did no one catch when she stood up and kissed the camera woman? Kim was breaking the fourth wall low-key to let us know, wink, nod, and hey, everyone here is in on it. It's not real. If you think any of these hot men were organically, just by happenstance during the filming time frame, interested in Kim for real, and she would reject them based on height or the fact that he has a roommate or that he's dated too many women, then you're beyond wrong. They told her, don't worry, Kim, your family line storyline's really sad, so we're going to offset it by giving you a few romantic encounters. But don't worry, these are all vetted, safe men, and they're all coming on with the understanding that you're going to be the one who says no, because they don't want to look even sadder, and you're going to see once the stuff comes out about her daughter what I'm talking about. Okay, that makes sense, because I had a feeling watching Kimberly specifically, that's why I haven't covered her this season. I'm like, man, I feel like they just brought her here to exploit her family drama and her putting her kids up for adoption. They wanted this sad storyline, so they brought her on the season, and now they're just trying to make up the rest of it as they go. I kept thinking as I was watching Kimberly, I'm like, why is she being so picky with these guys? I mean, come on, these are all attractive guys. At least try to give them a chance. It's not like you don't got baggage either. But now it makes sense where they're trying to make it seem like she's turning them down, because if they turned her down, people are going to be like, gosh, can you give this woman a break? Now you're sitting here exposing and exploiting her storyline about her getting rid of her kids, and now you're exposing her getting dumped by men. So that makes perfectly sense, and that just goes to show how crafted some of these storylines are. Like, okay, we're going to make sure we start off with it being sad, but by the end of it, you guys are going to kind of look at her as having this redemption arc of some sort. And they go on to say, they even told her, Kim, you'll be the one to reject them, and let's have it be something silly and vapid so no one can say that there's anything wrong with these men, that there's anything bad with them, because the men wouldn't come on, is she was going to say something horrible about them, and she likes them, and she thinks they're friendly and nice people. Why would she say anything bad about them? Oh my God, this makes so much sense. She won it because it's not real. None of her romantic storylines are real this season. It's to offset the real stuff going on with her family. Furthermore, the thing about him being too short, that's a running joke with her and the producers, because remember, the very first thing she did was have a real romantic interest with Usman, and people kept dragging her for that as if she's baby girl Kim, and she's not. It wasn't bad at all. Her attraction to Usman, it was a parasocial interest. She was a 90 Day fan like the rest of you. She saw him on TV, she reached out to him, and he responded to her, which really played into her childhood dreams of Michael Jackson. It's not fetishizing, since she's like, oh my gosh, someone actually likes me. That's why when she went there to Nigeria, she didn't seem to have any self-esteem, because she really doesn't. So when people are like, oh, she's so egotistical, she thinks so highly of herself, she's gonna break up with someone because they're too short. Absolutely effing not. That's not what's happening, and none of that is real. None of this happened organically. None of these men are interested in her, and she's not interested in them. That's why you're getting that kind of nonchalant attitude that you're picking up from her. She's not invested because she knows it's a safe situation, and all the scenarios are 100% produced. And it's because, and you're going to see in the upcoming episodes, but I can't spoil anything, her family storyline gets a lot sadder. And this was actually posted like 3 or 4 weeks ago on Reddit, so this was before. And what I think they're talking about when it gets sadder is when we find out that she ended up putting 2 kids up for adoption. And it's because, oh, and then I just read that. So 90 Day producer said, we need to give your story more dimension. Kim, let's have you do some dates. Decent, vetted guys, nice, handsome, good sports. They want to be on TV. They think you're nice, Kim, and they'd like to talk to you. But when it airs that they don't work out, the goal is to not make it something that's serious. I always wondered where they got these guys that are on these shows. I bet they probably have some parent companies, or they may do some other reality shows on different platforms, and they probably take from applications of people who apply for other dating shows and stuff like that, and hey, we may not bring you on The Bachelor, but you can go do a episode of The Single Life with baby girl Kimberly. And so she goes on to say, well, I don't know if this is a he or she, but this person said she wouldn't give away her 3rd child. It was too much pain. So it sounds like she was considering giving up Jamal, but she didn't. And not that it's any of your business, but she was trapped in an abusive relationship with someone who kept promising to do better and kept saying and encouraging her to have children so they could play family. And that's when he was cruel, and she realized, I can't keep a baby in this environment. He tricked her once and she got pregnant, then the second time on accident, and then after that they ended up having Jamal. And they said she did what was best for her children each and every time, which she thought she knew. And this is a woman who's never experienced romantic love in her life. All she's had is abuse, and that's real. I'm giving myself away here, but you're going to see her storyline get much sadder. And so all this stuff is meant to be a distraction and to help prop her up as a character. I'm tired of explaining this if you guys don't understand that 90 Days is mostly scripted. You really think she's out here in the wild attracting all these men, and that producers just happen to be there and they're all willing to be on camera just all of a sudden and organically? Hell no. And do you guys remember when Colt was on The Single Life? I think it was the season he got engaged to Vanessa, and he was going out on dates, and I remember he went to this lady's house. She had a nice house, and he ended up going on a date with this woman who was an adult film actor. She had long blonde hair, she had big fake tits, big fake lips, and they got in the hot tub together and were having drinks. I just know that was a producer setup date, because there's no way in hell a woman like that would give Colt the time of day. And then they said just no, and I'm not saying that she's ugly or that her personality sucks or that her life choices mean that she should burn in hell like some of you people, but I'm just saying if these men were really interested in her in real life, she wouldn't be like, no, I don't want to date you because you're 3 inches too short. That's not real, and you should have known that when she broke the 4th wall and stood up and kissed the camera woman on the cheek. She was trying to let us know, hey, everybody here in the scene is in on it. Then they said, I'm not a producer, but let's just say I'm filming adjacent. So that means that they deal with the show, but they just don't deal with actually being on the ground filming, or they don't do anything actually in production as they're filming each episode. That means that they either deal with something behind the scenes, maybe they deal with insurance stuff or helping the producers with stuff behind the scenes. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys because I feel like that validated a lot of my feelings, because I just knew this season just seemed way too orchestrated and manufactured, and I just had a hard time getting into it. Outside of Courtney and Cold's storyline, and even a lot of people think that's heavily manufactured. I mean, I feel like at least it's a little believable in my opinion. I believe it. I mean, at least parts of it. And then, I mean, Gino and Natalie were a little interesting, but now I'm second guessing everything, because I was wondering why Natalie was even giving somebody like Gino the time of the day to begin with, but then we went through all this stuff with Natalie and Gino just for Gino to leave Natalie at the end of this. Now I'm like, okay, was this just like with Kimberly, and they just brought this woman in and they're like, okay, we're gonna come up with a dumb reason and have Gino break your heart so you don't look like the bad guy. Now I'm second guessing everything. But you guys let me know what you think about everything in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.